When you see something that isn't how it should be, you can do two things. You can either criticize it, or you can be part of the solution. When I was in college, I looked around for answers to questions I was asking spiritually. My worldview was changing. What am I supposed to do with my life? Why do I believe what I believe? Why isn't Christianity more like this versus the way it is? And no matter where I looked, I wasn't getting the answers. My generation wasn't getting the answers that they were looking for. And therefore, our generation was leaving the church. So I could either blame the church, or I could be part of the solution of our generation encountering God in a new way. And that was the genesis of the idea of starting Relevant. Back when we started, there just wasn't anything that I saw that talked about life and faith and culture, impacting culture, but not being of culture, living intentionally and outwardly and deliberately. And there just wasn't anything that was talking about that. So we decided to set out to try to fill that void. In the early years, we published books, as we could afford to. We did stuff online for free, didn't make a dime, but it started to connect with people. And in 2002, we launched relevantmagazine.com. Not one sold ad, and made no money, but every day we're publishing articles, and it was kind of the voice of what God was doing in our generation. People were contributing. It was building momentum just through word of mouth. We didn't market it at all. And at the end of 2002, we knew that we were onto something. We were reaching about 100,000 people a month through word of mouth. And so in early 2003, we launched the print magazine. What had happened over the last 20 years before we came around was that Christians had withdrawn from culture and created their own subculture where it was safe. And I felt like that was a huge gaping hole in the gospel. I felt like Christ called us to be in the world yet not of it. And so how could we as Christians withdraw? Our generation was seeing that, and the pendulum was swinging back toward, no, we need to be in that space. And I felt like two things needed to happen. I felt like we needed to bring some a discerning eye to that. We can't just embrace culture. We need to look at it through a God-centered lens. And so I wanted the magazine to reflect that. But I also thought that if the magazine covered the influencers and the shapers of culture, that would actually draw readers who were spiritually hungry, spiritually curious, but weren't finding what they were looking for, maybe in traditional Christian places. The tagline being God, life, progressive culture, God's first. We feel that a relationship with God is an essential part of a fulfilled life. People ask me about the name Relevant. It's about being relevant. It's not about being relevant. It's about that even if you think that church, Christian culture, religion, all these things are irrelevant to your life, that God is relevant. God's relevant. And if you connect with God, it'll change your life. It'll change how you live. It'll change how you see the world. You're going to live intentionally. You're going to live selflessly. You're going to live outwardly. That's the kind of life we talk about in our magazine. That's what God's doing in our generation. When I look back at the last 10 years and see all that's changed, not just in culture and what God's done in our generation, but actually with the magazine, it's crazy. To think that what started as a dream in a dorm room is reaching people all around the world now is exciting, but at the same time, I feel like we're just beginning. We're just scratching the surface of what's to come. So we're gonna stay innovating. We're gonna embrace digital media and mobile as best we can. We're gonna keep doing what we do. We're gonna keep changing. I guarantee you the magazine and all the stuff that we're doing in 5 years will look so different than what it is today, just like today it looks so different than it was 5 and 10 years ago. And that is what excites me, is the opportunity in front of us.